ain't over. Hold off on the tequila and lime juice.
Ooh,
Hold off on the. I'll probably take that here in New York. But the point is, we ain't going to Cancun just yet. Look, man. Hey, story of this series, and the keys to win: defense. He gave up 130 points to this team in regulation in Game 4. You stumbled and bumbled your way to a loss, even though they got themselves back into the game. Tonight was different. They came out the gates firing. Their intensity, the ball pressure, as was noted on the telecast. That was one of the few smart things that the broadcasters were talking about. I thought the ball pressure was great. In particular, on Haliburton, I thought their closeouts were really good. Mitchell Robinson's defense, obviously stellar there. You know, Brunson wasn't really getting exposed out there as he has for most of this series. And so all in all, that's where I got to start, man. You know, the offense, we can sleepwalk in the offense and beat this team. They have to be better defensively, and tonight they were. That's where I'll start, man.
They absolutely were. I mean, let's think about this, CP. As you noted in your monologue, held them to 94 points, okay?
Yeah.
And the one thing that I thought the Knicks did well was make the Pacers think twice. And how do you do that? By showing a lot of bodies at Tyrese Haliburton. They always showed 2, 3. They made sure that he could not get into any open space, cause chaos, and find open shooters. That's the biggest thing that Haliburton could do. And so with the Knicks doing that, they made him think twice. You forced somebody else to be the playmaker tonight. And by doing that, you saw that guys like Nebhard, Aaron Naismith, they were rushing. All right? They're moving a little too fast for themselves. And so with that came a lot of turnovers. Then the Knicks were able to take advantage of that. And so then the Knicks were able to, just pile on with their slow, methodical offense, but then also get out in transition. This is a team that needs to be able to do that. And for most of the series, CP, they have not beaten the Pacers in the transition scoring category. And so when you were able to do that tonight, you're going to be able to come out victorious against the Indiana Pacers. I mean, Pacers won by 16-15. I know we'll get to the key stats of the night.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's 16-15, much closer than being like 24-6 or anything like that. So the Knicks finally did what they needed to do, which was to slow it down and then attack the Pacers at their own game.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. You saw a lot of 2 on the ball against Haliburton, especially in the second half, getting the ball out of his hands and making him a bit more uncomfortable. You also saw a lot more of the dog on Haliburton. Even in possessions where Mikal Bridges was out there on the floor. I wanted to see that. We were talking about how Naismith's defense on Brunson has been so good because he can play more physical. I've wanted to see more of the dog on Haliburton. I think we're going to see even more of that in Game 6 because I think that is going to be very, very important. Look, you're going to see a much more focused and intense Pacer team in Game 6 with much more killer instinct. So you got to cut the head off at the snake early and not let him get activated early. I'm going sicken the dog on him from the opening tip-off in Game 6. But I thought overall tonight as a collective, their team defense on Haliburton was really good.
100%. And you see when you put OG on Haliburton, right, it allows Mikal to use his wingspan to be that guy that can jump the passing lanes. And we saw that tonight. Guys were making errant passes. Bridges able to get a steal, push out in transition, or just set up your offense. Boom. That's all they need to do, man. You got to be physical with Haliburton. He does not have the frame to be like Jalen Brunson and take his time, work the paint. That's not what he wants to do. So if you're going to throw him off his block, then you're going to have a lot of chaos. And look, you see that even trickle down to everybody else. Even Pascal Siakam not having necessarily the greatest game that he was.
Fortunate.
But that's because Haliburton's not setting everybody up, causing then Siakam to be that great second option for them.
Yeah, definitely. And look, they were fortunate that Siakam didn't pop off. Only 15 points tonight, 5 of 13 shooting, because he has crushed them tonight. He had all 5 Pacer starters in minus double digits, except for Siakam, who was a -1. He had Obi in -26. So what the hell he was doing out there? But anyway, shout out to the captain, Jalen Brunson, man. 32 points, 12 of 18 shooting from the field. And shout out to Cat, man. Again, this has been a tough series with him dealing with Aaron Nesmith, chasing him down 94 feet and being very physical with him. I thought this is a crazy game for Jalen Brunson to be able to handle all of that and just scoring out there with ease, man. 4 of 7 from downtown. He was splashing the nets. 14 first quarter points. 4 of 4 from the free throw line with 5 assists and 5 rebounds. Hey, in a do-or-die game, you want your primetime players to make primetime plays, and that's what Jalen Brunson did tonight, man.
I felt it was a good balance of getting Brunson going and Towns going. It felt like they just oscillated between, like, the first quarter, it was Jalen Brunson. Second quarter was Karl-Anthony Towns. Third quarter, it was Jalen Brunson. Fourth quarter, it was both those guys to close it all out. I thought they did a good job balancing, and look, we've seen enough of the stats out there showing when both of these guys are sharing the court. When you look at the two-man plus minus, they're a minus, man. We know that when they share the court. So that's why it was good. That's why you stagger these guys, man. And it's not. This is not common. This is not like untouched territory, right? Not newfound ground. This is what good teams do. You have 2 good players, separate them so that way you have your bench getting some help. And look, when you don't have your full starting lineup out there, you still have at least one score.
Yeah.
Celtics do it. Nuggets do it. I mean, Clippers did it. All good teams, if they have 2 guys that are capable of scoring, they're going to stagger some minutes. And I thought it was a great job doing that tonight while still putting in the guys that have been helpful with that bench unit. Look, with Karl-Anthony Towns, Landry Shamet, Delon Wright, those guys were popping off again. Delon Wright being just that steady hand, getting steals. Landry Shamet knocking down threes, man. Who would have thought? You just bench campaign, put out a steady hand, and all these guys start to look good, man.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. So great job by Cat, man. The shot was just pure. It was money. And again, he's been struggling at times in this series. Still able to get his points and get his shots, but with that Nesmith matchup, and then you got Mathurin, you get adding Mathurin into the mix. I thought he did a good job giving everybody that work at different times of this game. Nesmith was getting that work, then especially when Nesmith goes to the bench, that's when you're a lot more freer to get even more activated. So he gave Ben Shepherd, he mixed it up with him, gave Mathurin some of that business, gave Haliburton a little bit. So, Miles Turner caught a 3 to the eye. So great job overall. And as you said, great floor game by Jalen Brunson. So Brunson set the tone in the first quarter, did a great job there. And then it was the Big Bodega's turn in the second quarter. As you said, Tibbs staggering the lineups, and in the second quarter, it was Karl-Anthony Towns out there running with Landry Shamet, Delon Wright. I believe Deuce was out there, and was it Josh Hart or OG? I believe
it was OG.
Yeah, and OG. But overall, again, just a great job by the Big Bodega, just understanding the assignment and just dominating his matchups out there. Look, whether it's Turner, they did lose Tony Bradley tonight. Looks like he buckled his knee a little bit. Who knows what his status is going to be for Game 6. But whoever it is, man, dominate. And it was good to see Karl-Anthony Towns going out there and doing that. 24 points, 13 rebounds, 10 of 20 from the field. He did splash of 3, 1 of 4 from downtown. And look, like I said, if it's Turner, you could still have your way, but especially when Turner's not on the court, that is your time to go out there and destroy these guys. I don't care who's playing at the 5. I don't care if it's Obi, Thomas Bryant. I don't care who it is. That is Karl-Anthony Towns' time to go out there and destroy these guys. And he had his moments tonight. And, outside of the foul trouble, he was brilliant. Let's get to the key stats of the night, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Let's get to it here. Good shooting night by the squad, man. 49% from the field for the Knicks to 40% from the Pacers. Only 27% from downtown, man. 8 of 29 from 3. It seemed like Brunson accounted for like 3 of those. Towns 4. Shamet hit 1. I think OG hit 1. So it wasn't too much to go around, but they still got the job done there. Pacers shoot 33% from the 3-point line. Charity Stripe, another off night for the Knicks, 15 of 22. They shoot 68% from the field. and the Pacers conversely 82% from the free throw line. Knicks did win the rebounding battle 45-40. I thought both teams, especially early, did a good job of limiting each other from the offensive side of the glass. One shot and the possession. So, but the Knicks did end up winning the rebounding battle 45-40. And then turnovers, 15 Knick turnovers led to 20 Pacer points. 20 Pacer turnovers led to 15 Knick points. So both defenses kind of being opportunistic at different times there in this game. But overall, I thought the Knicks kind of keeping that close was key because that's been their Achilles heel in this series. The fast break battle has also been an Achilles heel, but the Knicks, as you said, managed to keep it within one, so they lose that one 16-15. Points in the paint. This is where the Knicks should be feasting every night with Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns with the twin big lineups with Josh Hart's capability. The Knicks need to be attacking the basket. 60-34, they win that tonight. And this was a wire-to-wire win, Alex. 22-point lead was the largest for the Knicks and 0 for the Pacers.
Thank God it was a wire-to-wire win. Biggest thing I'm taking away from the key stats, CP, is I'm looking at the turnovers. And something that stood out was what you just said. Look, Pacers had 20 turnovers, but they only conceded 15 points off of the 20 turnovers. Knicks, on the other hand, had 15 turnovers, so 5 less than the Pacers, but gave up 5 more points off their turnovers. Look, you got to take advantage of all the turnovers that the Pacers are giving you. You can't miss these opportunities. Pacers are not our team that's not going to shoot this poorly again. I mean, they shot 41% from the field. They were shooting like dirt in the beginning of this game from downtown. This is not going to be the same case. They're going to come out with the energy in Game 6 trying to put this away. So you're going to have to take advantage of all the turnovers that they get against the Indiana Pacers. So while it was still a solid job from the New York Knicks tonight in making sure that you force them to have more turnovers, just got to cash them in because these opportunities, man, you got to take advantage of them. It's not as easy. Tonight was an easy night. It may not be as easy in Game 6, so you got to be ready and come correct.
Yeah, no question about it, man. And the key stats of the night, guys, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Pick 'em, watch 'em, and win 'em. Use our code KFTV at UnderdogFantasy.com or use the Underdog app to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick. And Underdog Fantasy, you have 2 games. You can play your daily fantasy draft where you pick your players and you go head-to-head with another player for an amount that they have different wager pools, different pools that you can jump in based on how much you want to wager. And then you can go head-to-head. They have 2-man drafts, 3-man, 4, 5, I believe up to 7, depending on the type of sport. And then you can play different sports, basketball, baseball, so on and so forth. And then you have to pick 'em, where you can win up to 300 times your money. And with the pick 'em, you're going to pick between 2 to 8 players and predict whether or not they're going to go higher or lower on a given stat projection that Underdog Fantasy has listed for that player on a given night. And again, you can play on different sports. Baseball currently active. You have the hockey playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs going on, as well as basketball. Now, Al, here is where I went tonight on my picks. I went 2 for 2 tonight, man. I went 2 for 2 tonight. Yeah, I had Karl-Anthony Towns with higher than 21.5 points with the Knicks. It's just more sense of urgency in their offense. I had to figure that the big bodega 21.5 points. I thought that was low that Underdog Fantasy had for him, so I picked higher than 21.5 points. We got that with 24. Then I did pick Deuce. I thought this was going to be a big Deuce night. Higher than 6.5 points. He finished with 5, so I finished just short on Deuce McBride. On the point side, I did go with Jalen Brunson with higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. Cap went 3 for 4 tonight. Very hot, especially in the first quarter. I think he had this in the first quarter, 2.5 3-points made. And then I went with the dud pick. I went with Obi Toppin, the lower. And, listen, I didn't, obviously this was an elimination game.
Why are you stuttering over there, CP?
Because the reality is I didn't want to pick Pacers with any higher projections, with any higher props. I wasn't trying to put that juju out there. So I went with the dud pick. Who's most likely to not meet their number? I went with the dud pick with lower than 6.5 points. The Tony Bradley injury, I think, got Obi some more minutes and some more opportunities the scores. And sometimes it's hard to predict. He finished with 11. So I went 2 for 2 tonight. So for you people at home, play to win, play responsibly. Use our code KFTV for up to $1,000 in bonus cash, plus a free pick. Shout out to one of our sponsors of the night, man, at Bear Mattress. Go to bearmattress.com. Use our code KFTV for 40%, not 35, what it says on the site. 40% off site-wide, Al. That is the biggest discount that you are going to get anywhere. And the best thing about Bear Mattress is that they pair you up with the bed, not just by trying to sell you one, but by based on your preferences and your sleep lifestyle. So you go on bearmattress.com, you fill out a quick survey with how you sleep, your sleeping pattern, so on and so forth, and then they will recommend one of the many beds that they have. So they sent me the Elite Hybrid, and it's on the money, man. Over 4,000 reviews, 4.5-star rating. Keeps me good, keeps me sleeping through the night, especially when you got to get through these games, win or lose, man. You need your sleep to recover and get back to it the next day. So shout out my guys at Bear Mattress. Industry rated, highly rated across the board, man. Number of industry publications rate Bear Mattress as the go-to for your bedding needs. So once again, use code KFTV for 40% off site-wide. Zay, can you hear us? Zay.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, sir. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Good. Got the win. Season's not over, and we can hold off on the all-season doom and gloom for one night.
Yeah, one night only. Yeah. I mean, I guess a great game, man. They did what they had to do. I think it was very important that two things I think that was changed or different with this game that definitely played a part is, not giving Tyrese Haliburton such open space to just walk up and down the floor.
Yeah.
A lot of it was pressing him full court a little bit better. That was just pissing me off with all the other games. Now, I just don't know why they've been making it so easy for the Pacers to kind of get into their offensive flow when Naismith and all of the other defensive players on the Pacers side has been wearing Brunson down all game. And it's always like towards the end of the game, it's just like all of our starters are tired because Tibbs don't play the bench. So this was like the perfect, well-rounded game where the bench got in. There was a lot more defensive effort of just putting pressure on Haliburton and all the players. So, you just got to love and respect the effort shown here. I'm of the belief that Game 6 is the most important game, of course. Every game at this point when you're down 3, when the other team has 3 is important. But I think if we win Game 6, the trajectory means we're potentially gonna win Game 7. Like Game 7 is just a lock. I think Game 6 is gonna be very important. But the way these refs been reffing, man, they got to come out to a hot start.
Yes,
they got to come out to a hot start. They got to be efficient. They got to make their baskets. They got to do everything, like not get in foul trouble, because if we leave it up to the refs in Game 6, the refs are gonna take it home towards the end of the game. So that's all I'm gonna say, man. They got to use the same effort. Precious Achiuwa, though, I don't know why Precious Achiuwa hasn't been getting burned this series, but I think he's a great matchup against Pascal. So I think they need to switch off between OG and Precious against Pascal.
Add a little bit more size. Add a little bit more size to the mix. Why not? I'm with you. 100%.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't been using Precious, but just leaving Cat out there, and Cat's offensive game is great, but we got to mix it up a little on the defense because we got to slow the Pacers down.
True story, man. True story. Rate that call in the chat. Zay from Maryland on the check-in, man. Rate that call in the chat. What do you guys think? What do you think, Al? Precious, more minutes for Precious, Al? What are you doing?
Yeah, I would like to see Precious get some minutes. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy extensive minutes, but I think if you want to throw a different look out there for Pascal, you can. If you want to do a little bit of small ball, you can certainly do that as well. But I do think this is a matchup where you can use Siakam just because, look, you want to be able to use that bench and just give some guys some rest, especially guys like Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns. They're going to need a break. Why not get Precious Achiuwa a few more minutes here and there? It doesn't have to be a lot, man. I mean, the bench is not good. He's come off the bench. He doesn't have to get like 15, 20 minutes. You can give him 10. Somewhere between 8 to 10 minutes a night just to give Mitch and Cat some relief.
Yeah.
All you need to do. Even OG, man, because you can play the 4.
Yeah. Listen, man, the people the Pacers got thrown out there, if Thomas Bryant's getting minutes, you can literally play anybody off your bench, man. A salute to another one of our sponsors at CarGurus.com, man. Hey, if you guys need to buy or sell a car, check out CarGurus.com, man. They do a great job of aggregating all the best deals out there for the particular car that you want. And it works like many other car search engines where you type in the car that you want, your zip code, and it'll find you the best deals in your area. It was voted the #1 most visited car shopping site in America. Over 4.5 stars on the Apple Play Store, over 4.5 stars on the Google Play Store. Check out CarGurus.com to get the best deal for you today, whether you are buying or selling a car. Go to CarGurus.com and let them know the good people on KnicksFanTV sent you.